Yo, what is going on, everybody? This your boy Sean, aka Puff Comics 83. We are back talking another film, talking The Scorpion King, starring The Rock. I am joined by my co-host Varangian Vigilante. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, doing well. It's as well as you can do in like this economy these days. But looking forward watching Scorpion King. Actually, today I watched a lot of movies and I rewatched The Exorcist 2 and I really enjoyed it.
Oh boy,
yeah.
you're one of the very few that enjoy that second film.
But actually.
It's so far out there compared to the first film that it's like, wow, this is like, am I watching the same film? It's got the same actress and all that.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy it, so that's that. But hey, today we're gonna talk another movie that I really enjoy, and unlike Retro Nerd Girl, which I very much appreciate that he left a message here. Thank you. Maybe I have time to watch it on the rewatch. I wouldn't even say it's a guilty pleasure. It's just an awesome movie. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it, and again, it's like I was happy going to the theater seeing it when it came out because, of course, it's The Rock. I will say though that that's one of my criticisms of the film is that because it's The Rock, I can't really take him serious as the character because it's like I just see The Rock. He even does the people's eyebrow and all that.
So it's like in the harem scenes. Like
I'm just waiting for him to bust out one of his catchphrases.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And it's got a good cast.
And let's just say basically it's one of the last real sword and sorcery movies that came out like with a big budget back then. And I personally wish that it would have like revived the sword and sorcery genre, but of course, like in that time period, everything was shifting more a little bit to high fantasy. But it was like a big last hurrah. And I know there's like been a shit ton of Scorpion King movies ever since, but even though they're entertaining for what they are, like straight to video productions, I think this could have been like more than just a vehicle for The Rock. But I totally understood at that point he wanted to still do the whole actor thing before he finally realized just being The Rock in movies brings him enough bank.
Yeah, because there was a period of time where he dropped the Rock name and just went to Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah,
like you're The Rock, bro.
I think when we talked WrestleMania 20, I think in our stream, when I even said like The Rock looked so small, it's like because he slimmed down so much. But of course, for the Scorpion King, he was still in prime Rock.
Nice.
I think. Nowhere as big as he is now. Natural, because people over 50 just grow more muscular naturally.
I would like imagine The Rock now as the Scorpion King is with his size.
You know what? It's like everybody, of course, is talking. Oh, let's have a King Conan movie with Arnold. Let's have a King Scorpion King movie.
King Scorpion, let's get The Rock back out there.
Yeah, let The Rock be back as a Scorpion King. Yeah, that actually I think that would actually quite like. Let's do a new Mummy movie and also do a new Scorpion King movie.
Yeah, because I also rewatched The Mummy Returns. I love the first two Mummy films. And Arnold also is awesome in those films.
You know what's so crazy? When I watched The Mummy Return in cinemas, I thought that Chris Kenyon is in the movie. Because like that one with dude with the beard, like
the goatee, yeah.
Because he looked like Chris Kenyon, so I thought Chris Kenyon is in the movie back then. Hey, Ollie.
Yeah, but one thing about the Mummy Returns, like that established, The Rock's character, the Scorpion King, and while you do get the sense that the character has a big past, they dropped the ball when it came to the CGI ending of the character.
Yeah,
Like,
that's, even for back then.
Yeah, like the CGI in the film was good up until the Scorpion King showed up, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And at that time, everybody was going in it to see more of The Rock. We saw him at the beginning of the film, so you thinking he's just gonna pop up and he's gonna be the Scorpion King, but nah, he's a CGI character
from very different places.
Very different places, man. I'm in America, Florida,
and I'm in Austria.
Yeah.
However, we have the same taste also for quotes.
Oh yeah. I didn't even notice. But yeah, like I felt like this movie did a really good job of establishing the character, and it had a really good cast. Like Kelly Hu, as the sorceress, I was like, she could be my sorceress, and I could see into the future.
But of course, I think like acting wise, like Michael Clarke Duncan, like
yes,
it's crazy to have like an actor of that caliber, like for, I wouldn't say a throwaway role because the character is still important, but he makes the character like so much more that you might even think they could like make a Balthazar spin-off.
Exactly. I was just about to say, like, his character was so good, now you want to see a spin-off with him because he can carry himself and hold his own. And that's another thing. It's like, man, we severely miss somebody like him.
Yeah, he could do comedy. Way too soon.
He could do comedy. He could do action. He could do seriousness. Like, the versatility of Michael Clarke Duncan was so good, and we lost him way too early.
Way too soon. Yeah. I mean, how many actors are there that can be in a movie like The Scorpion King and portray like a kick-ass honorable warrior that later does dragon disguise and still is menacing? Like, I mean, like it's just like he was just an incredible actor, and personally I would say he actually would be way too good to do movies like The Scorpion King, but I'm very happy that this is a movie like The Scorpion King because to have like actors of that caliber in my favorite genre is I mean, basically I think that he would have actor-wise even be way more impactful as the main villain, because he could have given this movie like a James Earl Jones Tools of Doom like push, because Stephen Brand did a good job as Menon, but it's when you put him next to The Rock, it's just there's like a huge difference.
And it's funny you brought up Tulsa King because James Earl Jones didn't have a physical presence, but he had that look, he looked menacing. He looked,
and the voice, and the way how he carried himself.
Because he was big, but he didn't present himself as a intimidating physical presence.
Yeah.
He was more scary, and it's like, man, you don't want to be in the crosshairs of Tulsa because he can just say words and destroy you. Whereas Michael Clarke Duncan just had the physical presence that I felt like he could have fit in the Conan the Barbarian movies just as easily because he matches up so well physically against a Conan or against a Scorpion King.
The fight with him and The Rock, I think, is one of the best fighting scenes in the whole movie. And there's a lot of really good fighting scenes, but that fight between Balthazar and Matthäus, I think is just a highlight. And you know, I'm also of course very happy that Ralph Möller is in this movie.
You know, I when I rewatched this film, I thought that the fight scene between them two was a bit long, and I was surprised that it was short because I don't know why, but I felt like he had a bigger presence.
Yeah.
Or he should have had a bigger presence.
Yeah.
Like he should have been more like a sub boss.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that he went out.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this: we talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah.
We like talking older movies. We'll talk some modern movies, but I'm not interested in the engaging with the audience and stuff. Like, if the audience come and watch us, hey, that's fine. They, they'll enjoy our videos for what they are.
If people actually watch us, they would get canceled.
Yeah, but we talk about movies that we enjoy. We don't talk about what the popularity wants and stuff. We just do this because we talk movies that we enjoy and we have fun doing it. So
exactly.
Like, I understand the whole point of trying to engage with audience, but at the same time, I just do this for fun. Me and you, we get on here, we talk about movies, and then what I do with the Comic Call crew. But other than that, that's what we do. We talk about movies that we want to talk about and not latest movies.
Exactly. It's like we actually have jobs and of course the former online marketing teacher in me would have said, of course, hey, we could get way more engagement with other stuff, but the movie buff in me just says, fuck the audience.
And see, this is why we can't get that type of audience, because I have guys like VV that's gonna say whatever the fuck he want to say and not care.
Yeah. Fuck those jabronis.
So what's up, Donnie?
Hey, Donnie.
So that we just stay true to ourselves. That's it. I let VV be off the hinges, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah, I'm the reason that Sean's channel would never get monetized anyway.
I don't want to monetize it. Because I want to be raw myself, so I'm not going to try and limit myself just to get monetized. Yeah, what were you talking about? We talking about microphone gun. But yeah, I felt like his character was so good. And while I do understand your point of him being a better villain in the film, I felt like nobody really wanted to hate on Michael Clark.
Exactly. Of course.
We don't want him to die because everybody loved him in The Green Mile. And that movie was so good that the ending just it brought him into tears. So we wanted to see him in more of a hero type stance.
Absolutely.
So I understand. As a villain, he probably would come off more imposing and more threatening. But the scene where the guy removed the cloth and hits his face, it's hilarious.
Let's just say he can be menacing, and he's shown that in Sin City.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
and again, it just shows you how versatile he is as an actor. He could be a strong man, dangerous kingpin in that terrible Daredevil film. But then he could be funny as hell, like when he teamed up with Bruce Willis. What was that? He was funny.
In German, keine halben Sachen, which is the second monster. This is still one of my favorite jokes. Where
So Michael Clark Duncan, we lost him way too early, and it's a shame. But he made his impact.
Yeah, absolutely. But to come back to Ralph Möller, I totally agree what you say. It's just he went out like a jobber, and he should
Well, I don't know if jobbers get the last laugh and stab him with a
I know, he had a very
he had a job.
He had a really memorable and very important scene for the plot, to give him the scorpion poison. But I still think that a henchman of his type was lacking in the later movie, in the finale, where there was just this big muscular guy was just missing. I mean, this movie, of course, had like excellent henchman quality. We even had like El Young in a very like.
Man, I was like, come on, not Al
Uh,
Young, and he don't really get to do more.
he got a payday, and that's important.
He's got to pay that.
He got a payday.
But yeah, Tozak would have definitely made a great sub boss before the final fight.
Yeah, you know who else is in this movie? What I found out actually today.
Who?
Shane McMahon's wife, Marissa.
That's Shane's wife?
Shane's wife, yeah, she's the mother of Declan McMahon, yeah. Shane's wife is in this movie.
That's crazy. I ain't know. Learn something new every day.
Exactly. That's what I'm here for.
But yeah, like I said, I thought that fight was going to be a bit longer between Scorpion King and Tozak. But again, I thought the character did serve his purpose. What? No, man, I look nothing like Idris Elba. Stop it.
Who's Lucas Graham?
I look nothing like Idris Elba.
Gotta Google that.
String a bell. Now I will say Grant Heslov was the comedic character in the film, and of course he's been in a lot of films. You know, we still haven't talked True Lies, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we have. He still haven't talked True Lies. Like,
yeah, because I liked him in True Lies.
Yeah. I'm so old. I don't even know people anymore. Like.
But yeah, like he's the comedic relief. You know, he plays the thief, R.I.P. And I just love the part when they're both trapped inside the sand, and they send like all the bugs to kill him. And then one moment he's trapped with Scorpion King, and then the next he's gone. He's up on the rock like, oh, should I save you? You know, you treated me poorly earlier.
You know what they really did well in this movie is, you know, very often the comedic relief just sucks. And I think the way they introduced like R.I.P to this movie, you know, first to help him, and The Rock is like, well, fuck you, I have like an mission, like, so, and then later basically he has to be very much humbled by the comedic relief, you know, with that scene with the fire ants. And they also used him sparingly. So I think this was exactly the dose of comedic relief that you couldn't put in a movie like this. It still is a PG-13 movie. Actually, I think for a PG-13 movie, there were like some really brutal scenes in there, which I very much appreciate. So it was a very hard PG-13. I think it felt even a little bit closer to an R rating than Conan Destroyed it.
It's the only scene that really felt like it was real hard, close to R, was when you see the body impaled on the it got impaled, but you don't see the body get thrown on it. You just see the body laying there.
In the cave. In Germany, it has the same rating as Conan the Barbarian. Like both are like for 16 up.
But the movie, like, one of the things that bothers me with movies like this is when they're PG-13 and you see all these sword battles and all these swipes with the sword, and it's like, man, you know, if this is real, you're gonna see blood splatter and all that, heads decapitated. But they play this safe because it's PG-13, so you're not gonna see the brutal sword battles.
And of course, in the harem, you get the lack of boobs. That is.
I mean, they did well in covering up the sorceress. You know, when she
it's like it's a.
I mean, you stay sliding down the water path down, and it's like you can't even get no shots of nudity.
Yeah, but I think that for a PG-13 movie, it doesn't feel like a. When you think PG-13, it doesn't feel like a PG-13.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of the story?
The story is very bare bone. It really feels actually like being plucked from a Conan story from his mercenary days. So this could, if you just change the name of the characters, this could be like really like a Conan movie. So I very much appreciate it. I really like the plot, of betrayal, of sorcery, and also that I think that the moment when his brother was killed was actually very heartfelt. And
But see, here's the thing though.
hey Dan,
The man went to save his brother, saying, "Man, you lucky we both got the same mothers."
Mm.
And then his brother get killed. I'm like, shit, then you just wasted the character because he just got saved at the beginning of the film just to get wiped out.
But I think that actually is a good way, because you might feel, it's a PG-13 movie. Of course, like those people are safe, and then you get ripped out of your safety. It's like, nah, nobody's safe. So I very much appreciate it, like from that perspective. And The Rock has more than one line in this movie.
This is his movie. He got multiple
Yeah.
lines. I think didn't he have like one line in Mummy Returns?
That's it. It could be in the Mummy Return. Like, he was mostly speaking like Egyptian or something.
I guess that's it then. That was his one line in that film. Because he made the deal to sell his soul to get a king and take out his enemies.
Exactly, because as we all know, that's why the Rock wants your soul. I need your soul, Cody.
I guess The Rock was channeling his Scorpion King with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the story again is your basic revenge, madman that wants to rule all the different tribes and stuff. And you get to see the king, I think Pharaoh, and he gets betrayed by his own son, Philos. And it's like, no, not Philos, Takmat. And it's like your typical, mad son that wants to take over and betray his own father. We've seen that multiple times, and that's a common thing in sword and sorcery.
Yeah, and I also like that. Of course, he brings the head of his father, to show the loyalty. So I think this really has like a sort of best of sword and sorcery like tropes in there. Of course, if it would have been rated R, it would have been even more glorious. But like I said, I take it, especially for the time when it came out. Like that, like I said, beginning, it was one of the final real sword and sorcery big budget movies that we have ever gotten.
And another thing, because I've been watching Conan the Adventurer, in one of the episodes, a guy wanted, Conan to go out and get the Asian woman that he felt was his, but she never loved him. But he also had his own sorceress by his side to give him information.
Yeah.
So every sword and sorcery, a top guy has his own sorceress. That's
naturally
always
that's what you need.
And that's what Midnight does in this film. He uses the sorceress Cassandra to predict who he can take out and what land he will take over, because she can see the future. And now
until
and the Scorpion King shows up, and she sees that he's the best bet to take him out, because again, she's beautiful and she's a sorceress, but at the same time, she doesn't want to be bound to the Midnight.
Yeah.
And she wants to get away from him. And when the Scorpion King saves her, and they go through this spell, because she also heals him when he gets poisoned. They team up, and they say, you know what, you have the best chance of taking him out. So let's give the element of surprise. And I did like when she re-entered the palace, he instantly wanted to test her faith to him.
Yeah, with the snake. Yeah, it's a very well-rounded movie, and I just wish we would have gotten the exact amount of sequels that we actually got, but I wish we would have gotten it on the
big budget.
on a big budget like the first one, and with a little, there of course we have like Randy Couture in it and like and others, but it's still
Batista's in the third, I think.
and of course what is like it's the fifth one.
I didn't even know they made a couple more after. Like
I think we're at 5 right now.
It's like The Rock had 2 movies that he started off with.
Lou Ferrigno is also in one, I think.
Yes, Lou Ferrigno's
in one. Lou Ferrigno is also, yeah.
It was this and Walking Tall. The Rock did the first movies, and then the sequels, it was somebody else.
Hey, Kevin Sorbo was in the sequel of Walking Tall.
Well, it was because Walking Tall 2, 3, and then they had like 2 more ones. It's like, what the fuck? And the Kevin Sorbo's, he played a different character than the one from the that did the sequels.
Yeah.
So and rest in peace to John Doe Baker. He also passed away. He was the original Walking Tall.
Mm.
And plus, he did a couple James Bond films and The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. So, man, a lot of people passed away.
Way too many, yeah. But also is where I also think like way too big of an actor for like a small part of this movie. Of course, like also Bernard Hill, like who plays like Philos, which we of course know from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, she could have had a bigger part.
No, like Bernard Hill, who plays Philos, the Greek like scientist.
I still say that he could have had a bigger part.
Yeah,
because I did like the character behind the scenes of being a Greek scientist and being responsible for the explosion at the end. Because
I of course also like the scene when Matthäus comes to him and is like, "Where's Memnon?" Is like, "Do you want to kill him?" Yes. Well, then he's like in the training yard.
And I thought his role was very well served, And again, it's like I thought the movie had a really good cast.
Yeah, the cast is. I think the cast not only was big back then, but I think for how, also with Bernard Hill, etc., like that, the cast also aged very well. I mean, sadly, he also passed away, I think, last year or 2 years ago, Bernard Hill, but it really has like a cast that stood the test of time.
Yeah, and again, the movie still holds up. There's a couple things I would change, like again, when it comes to Thorak, I felt like the character could have been extended a bit longer.
Yeah.
I do feel that the Sandstorm fight, I thought was better than what I originally thought it was.
I think that one aged actually very well. I was also like not a big fan of it in the past, but it's also something that not only grows on me. This actually where I'm actually really enjoyed because there's like a certain horror element with it.
Yeah.
That. So
I actually thought that the fight lasted a bit longer in the storm without the cave portion, but I thought the cave portion added something different to it, even though it's not really understandable how sneaky the Scorpion King could be. It's like he's just sneaking all over the place, picking them off left and right. And it didn't feel like extremely believable that he could do that, but it is what it is. I thought the fight scenes were pretty good in that.
Well, if you can get the people elbows over, then you can get this sneaking over.
And and again, Thorak definitely felt that he could have been a much bigger sub boss. But for what the role we got of Ralph Miller, I thought he did fine.
Yeah,
like he did really good. And again, this is coming off of me watching episodes of Conan the Adventurer, he could be hit or miss as Conan, but he's Ralph Miller.
He's Ralph Miller still. He's like it's remember like that like
we talked about him in Best of the Best.
Yeah.
Part 2. And of course he's in Cyborg with Van Damme.
I think I have it like on an old phone. There, like that one picture, when I was still working at the Schwarzenegger Museum and Ralph Möller visited, and I made that picture with Ralph Möller, and I look like a fucking hobbit next to him. Like, he's so fucking tall. Like, I'm so happy that another person like stood next to me, but that person looked like what is smaller than a hobbit? Like look like a cat.
Hey, I to be honest, when I stood next to Lou Ferrigno, like I thought he's gonna dwarf me, but he's still big, but he's not as big as he was like way back in the day.
Yeah, but Ralph Möller is still he's
still like, super tall.
He's super tall, like whereas like damn is like like he's like a snow giant or something.
The final battle I thought between Scorpion King and Menot, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Again, say what you want about the guy who played Menot and size wise, I thought he did really good in terms of the action scene.
He did a very decent job. I'm not criticizing for what he performed. I think he couldn't have performed better than he did. He just lacked the sort of charisma to be like somewhere close, not even like on par, but somewhere close to The Rock. With Duncan, him and The Rock, it just works. There is like no, you would not say it's like somebody would fall out of charisma wise. But I just wish there would have been like that Mammon would have got an actor that could be on par with The Rock in sort of screen presence.
I guess they didn't. They wanted The Rock to shine even more.
Yeah.
So we'll give Stephen Brand the opportunity. And like I said, I thought he did well. For what he was given and what he had to do, I thought he did well. And I thought the final battle between the two was really good, especially with the flaming swords.
Yeah, that was also very well done. And generally, I think the effects also hold up very much.
Except for the snake scenes, like you could tell, like
I mean you can tell, but I still
all the CGI for me, the snakes just looked at the
yeah. The snake at the ends, especially since they wanted to sell the ants as real back then.
But other than that, the effects in the film I thought was pretty good.
Way better than the Mummy Returns King, naturally.
Well, Mummy Returns had great special effects, except the Scorpion King.
It really felt like it was like, hey, we're done here. It's like we forgot the Scorpion King. We have like 2 hours.
And according to the crew, they said that what hurt them was that they couldn't really get The Rock's face as much in terms of special effects because of his WWE commitment. Because I think he only left for a month to do the Mummy Returns, and then he came back.
It's
for like a week.
Yeah, I mean, also Vince is also like an executive producer of the movie, but because of course he owns the Rock, he owned the Rock then. But now we know that the Rock is on the board and he owns the Rock now. He owns the people's champ. He owns everything.
He owns the souls of people.
Souls, yeah. He owns so much. The only thing he's collecting now is souls.
That's it.
Terra, mana, and souls.
And he claimed the soul of Menot. And I liked that Menot's whole defense was that you're not going to get an arrow shot. They showed this multiple times early in the film that every time somebody shoots an arrow at him, he's able to block it quick.
Yeah, which I also very much enjoyed because I remember, when I watched the movie like in cinemas for the first time, I was initially, being back then like a teenager, like it's like why is he not like high? Like it's like he shouldn't have put so much faith in himself. But now, of course, hey, he basically he thinks he has this covered.
And what he failed to realize that the battle with Scorpion King wore him out. So when he thinks that he's gonna block it, he misses it and it takes him out.
In general, I think the other scene is also so done well. Also, like that Mateos like takes that arrow that is like stuck in his back, because that very well crafted scene, very well crafted finale. Also, I really enjoyed like all the sets. Then also some of the filters, especially like the night bluish filter they used on some scenes. Fantastic. It's just this movie, this is also one of these movies that I can always watch and never on board.
Yeah, it's a fun film, and this, I felt like it goes by really good. It has a good pace. It balances out the action with the slow scenes, and you're never bored. And I thought the characters was wonderfully executed. And the one part where I was like, yeah, chop that kid's hand off. He keeps stealing shit, man. Chop it off. But other than that, I thought it was a fun film. Now, Hollywood, they stuck in remakes. They keep remaking and rebooting and stuff. I mean,
they basically, I think they just went on this path of, if a movie doesn't make at least a few million profit, it ain't worth the effort. And this is like something that big franchise movies like the MCU put them in. So basically, when they do like a small budget movie and the movie makes like a profit of like 5 or 6 million, they don't even care about that. It's just that, also of course, what's gonna be like on the gravestone of capitalism, that enough was not enough. It's, hey, Brian.
What's up, Brian?
So I think that, which very well be currently, that after the next financial crash, that there's gonna be smaller movies.
I agree with Dan. Movies always been based off of books.
Books. Yeah, it's
way back. You can go back to old movies.
But every book fan would have said that it's like, but not based on the book enough. And of course,
go ahead.
Yeah, but also what I think, like, of course, there's always been movies based on history, of big stories. There's always been movies based on books, but I do think that the biggest problem with modern movies is that they are not well written. That they basically, Hollywood is very afraid to make the audience think, so they really just give them like very blatant like statements. And I do think that a lot of the movies, especially when the whole film noir started, that Hollywood lost a little bit the writing between the lines.
Sinners is a really good film, and Sinners is a movie that, like when you watch it, you're gonna get From Dusk Till Dawn vibes.
I haven't seen it yet. I actually don't even know if it's out here yet. I've just seen like I think I just seen the trailer on WWE.
But yeah, I really enjoy that film, and you could tell like the director Ryan Coogler really took elements from Dusk Till Dawn and other vampires type tales, because again, it's like, how many vampire movies, how many vampire stories can you tell? You can reimagine them, tell them in different ways, while also still paying tribute to the original sources.
Yeah, I'm a big Eggers fan, but I did not enjoy Nosferatu, for example. Like A24, like they're like hit and miss for me. Of course, like the Iron Claw, we also reviewed that movie on this channel.
Yeah,
is of course was just like a for us as a wrestling fans, as wrestling historians, or like that one just really hit close and got us all the feels. We talked last time already a little bit about the Smashing Machine, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what that is, because again, UFC.
Yeah, early UFC especially. I have sent you the clip of Don Fry.
Don Fry, the legend.
The legend.
Hey, Don Fry. One thing about Don Fry, he's gonna say what his mind tells him.
I laughed. There was like one comment under the Don Fry video where it's like, my wife just walked past by and got pregnant by Don Fry.
The Don Fry jokes never get old.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm looking forward to Smashing Machine, and again, Sinners is a really good film. I enjoyed that. But when it comes to these modern films, like they either want to take an original idea and make it different, take an existing idea and try and do something else with it, or what do you think of Liam Neeson doing the Naked Gun reboot?
I really like the trailer. I really enjoyed the trailer, and when they announced the whole thing, I was very skeptical, especially since when was like the last great comedy was actually like a Scottish comic book adaptation, was like the Death of Stalin. That one of the best satires in history, but that was like, I think, the last really funny movie that came out. And in the US, there was not really, like, once again, it's about the writing, but the trailer for the Naked Gun, I don't know how the whole movie is, but it really got like this Sucker Brothers humor in it, and also how they played it with OJ's. That they went there gave me a lot of faith in the project.
That right there told me, like, you're gonna go there, that means you're not afraid of this PC.
Yeah. So we should maybe talk like then very soon, like the Naked Gun movie.
We gotta talk the Naked Gun trilogy. Like, I love Liam Neeson, but Leslie Nelson will always be Frank Drebin to me. Like, no matter what, because that's the Frank Drebin I grew up with, man. And he was a serious actor himself.
Yeah.
Before he did Airplane, and then he went down that path to do comedy.
Classic science fiction actor, like.
People forget that, you watch some of his earlier films. It's like he was a serious actor. But then they did Airplane, and they're like, we're gonna take this guy who's a serious actor, put him in this film, and then let it just mix up. And he plays it so well that they like, oh, we gotta get more out of this.
Yeah, and don't call me Shirley.
So yeah, we gotta talk the Naked Gun franchise.
Absolutely, if they show it in English here, I wanna see it in cinemas, because that trailer really gave me faith in the project.
Yeah, and when it comes to like these type of films, like you said, you're always skeptical because we don't watch the originals for so long, to the point where it's like you don't want to see a remake or a reboot because it's like it's not going to be as good. But,
and it's like, when I just remember, with was it even the first Naked Gun when they had like back in the day, like all the world leaders, you still had like, I think like Gaddafi was in there, and then Yasser Arafat, like, who's also like long time no longer alive. So it's just like I just really want to laugh. I really want to laugh and not watch a movie and say where, hey, they toned it down. Like, nah, it's like, and I think it's like right now with all this bullshit in the world, I think it's time again that we can just unapologetically laugh at even at evil things.
We need somebody like Dave Chappelle to just take
Yeah.
all the recent Diddy trial stuff and just make it comedy gold. But yeah, we talked Scorpion King. Again, we agree that it's a fantastic film. We enjoyed it. It still holds up. And being that The Rock is in it and he's a wrestler, and we've talked about wrestling over the last month and a half, we gotta talk about
Sabu.
He passed away this past Sunday, and I remember the first thing I thought of was the match with GCW, and then I was like, I messaged you like, yo, I just found out Sabu passed.
Oh yeah, the first thing I thought is well, that bump on the head that he took in this very much not planned move in the match most certainly didn't help. Otherwise, it's also it's very Sabu to pass like this. I mean, I just also rewatched the video that Cornette did like 4 years ago about the last chapter of Sabu's book, where like fuck test, isn't it that fuck test beyond the grave? Sabu, one of my favorite wrestlers when in the past, when WWE had like a house show, when they brought back ECW, like in Vienna, and I saw that RVD and Sabu were on the card. I was like, I have to go there. So of course, like with my back then girlfriend, luckily she was like way better drawing than I, so she drew for me like a Sabu sign to hold up. And of course, like I held it up when RVD and Sabu were there, and RVD was like tapping Sabu on the shoulder and he's like, "Hey, this sign." So that was my big RVD Sabu moment in my early 20s or something back then. So it was like I don't think that I would have gone to the house show if RVD Sabu wouldn't have been there, and I was like this week I was rewatching a lot of stuff. I remember how pissed I was like at Vengeance in 2006 when Sabu didn't get over Cena. Like,
I knew this match was gonna come up.
Yeah, so I was very pissed because of course like John Cena was like the big disease that held wrestling down. Of course, he was like also just like an avatar of Vince McMahon, who very much forbade people talking about wrestling on TV. But that was like right before they buried ECW, where you still had this sort of faith that, hey, if he sees how much people will support like the ECW originals, maybe
no.
Nah. That's not how Vince rolls.
No.
So
I will say that match with John Cena was entertaining.
It was.
Mainly because
I just rewatched it, and I mean, also like at One Night Stand 2, his match against Rey Mysterio was actually the ending. Of course, I get it. They had to write both off because you can't have both titles at ECW.
Yeah, they didn't want to have Rey drop the belt.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's like basically, it's like ECW, One Night Stand 1 and One Night Stand 2. Like
let's talk about OG ECW.
Oh yeah, I mean
The
everybody, of course, thinks about. I mean that's always one of my go-tos. You know, when I was talking with a person that was not into wrestling and said, "Oh, it's fake," etc. It's like, well, let me show you Terry Funk versus Sabu in the barbed wire match, where and everybody, you know, when you saw like the biceps like being torn, and he's just like to Alfonso like get me like the duct tape.
just duct tape himself back up, man. I gotta keep
Yeah,
wrestling.
it was actually very wholesome. As much as you can use the word wholesome in the retirement match that he had like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that you know that also that like Fonzie was there, Sandman was there. Uh,
Yeah, Sandman.
yeah,
Man,
that,
somebody said it best. Like when it came to Sabu and Sandman, they just had a certain aura about them. Like you was witnessing something special whenever they came out. You know, Sandman with that iconic song, the Enter Sandman,
yeah.
and Sabu and his crazy, death-defying, genocidal, homicidal stuff that he was doing. It's like they just had an aura that a lot of modern wrestlers lack. Even the original Sheik, you know, he had an aura back then.
Yeah.
Abdullah the Butcher had an aura. All those guys just had certain presence that made them stand out, made them feel special, and like these guys are dangerous and threatening.
And Sabu, you know, with a lot, you know, what always Terry the King Lawler said when he talks not only like extremely crappy wrestling, but when he said like the first thing that he noticed with ECW how small a lot of the people were, and yeah, Sabu was like the look was amazing. The thing with Sabu was, of course, like size wise, a lot of the WWE's people were like taller. But the thing with his aura is that it still felt believable for him to beat them.
Yeah. See, that's what Sabu played, the raging wild lunatic that no matter what his size was, pain did not hurt or did not stop. Like he was gonna go out there and do everything possible and make you feel the pain. And that's what made his matches so attractive. Like, yeah, I know Jim Cornette hated the hardcore matches, and it really led to a lot of people doing a lot of stupid shit over the last 20 years.
Still doing it. I'm watching it.
But Sabu was like a whole different case where it's like he felt like a special attraction.
Yeah, and like also like Heyman said, you know, when they asked him is like that who should have been bigger than he was, Sabu. Sabu should have been a millionaire. Sabu should not have felt that he does need to do a retirement match at 60, which 3 later afterwards he passes away. He should have been in a position to retire on his own terms. I mean, one can say he's still retired or passed away, maybe even like on his own terms, where maybe he just wanted to really go out with this match with a bang.
That's kind of my thought, is that he's been wrestling forever and doing his thing, that he felt that if I'm gonna go either after this match or a couple weeks after this match, I'm gonna go doing what I always do.
Yeah.
You know, and this is his specialty. You got, I mean, again, even if he says he's retired now, there's still a very slim chance that Ric Flair will come out of retirement just because he needs money.
It's Ric Flair. It's
and the man damn near died in his actual last match, because it's like,
yeah, he got a heart attack.
So it's like some of these guys, again, they can't move on.
I mean, as you see with Ric Flair is not only can't he retire, of course, like financial wise, but he also became his gimmick.
Yeah,
like there is no There's no flair anymore. There's only a flare.
A flair for the gold.
Yeah.
And you could say that with Sabu, like he just owned up to that gimmick. He honored his uncle, the great Sheik, the original Sheik, and said, "I'm at the beginning. I'm not going to speak. You know, I'm going to do what my uncle did and not speak and keep kayfabe, and just be this wild, crazy, you know, person."
Yeah. I mean, and I read this story like online when there was, you know, for a new WWE like 2K game, somebody did like a CW character, you know, like a download character for Sabu. So he created Sabu in there, made it available for download. Sabu saw this and said, "It's like, do it again. It looks like shit." so the modder did it again and asked like if Sabu like he did it until Sabu like was agreed with that. With it.
Hey man, Sabu's like, man, you better get my shit right, man.
Yeah, it's
one of my favorites though. I love him and RVD as a tag team.
Yeah, that
the stuff they did with the Eliminators in '97 was just top notch work, and the Eliminators was fucking amazing. Like people forget that Perry Saturn and Johnny Kronos, the Eliminators, they had some crazy moves and total elimination. So every time I watch their matches with RVD and Sabu, I'm like, I know I'm gonna be entertained because these guys, they're gonna tear the roof down.
It's because you know I'm also like a big RVD fan, and RVD got like a lot of success. Sabu should have been so much bigger. Sabu should have main evented WrestleMania.
As much as we say that, it was never going to happen.
Yeah, even though apparently Vince really liked him.
Vince may have liked him, but he's like, you're going to be here, and that's it. You're not going to move no further up. And it's one of the things that where people will say, you know, he should have been successful in WWF or he should have been successful in WCW. His style doesn't translate to a mainstream television audience. Because networks are going to look at that and it's like, why is this on my TV?
Yeah. And he was, I think that's also why Vince liked him, because he was not taking any compromises. Like there was like when he said no, then he meant no, even though it was like very much to the detriment of his purse.
I wish a lot more people told Vince no.
Yeah, in general, you know, I think that if it would be like right now, because let's face it, like streaming is so important for the independent scene. ECW, if Thriller TV would have been around back then, ECW would have never gone bankrupt.
They had Thriller as their financer.
Exactly, and basically it's like GCW right now. You know that back in the day, you know, we heard about ECW, but there was like no really way to watch it here. And right now, I can be anywhere on the world, and I can watch like GCW live on Thriller. And which is it's not an ad. It's like it's I'm not
trying to watch ECW over here in America. It's almost like you had to sneak up late at night, you know, to watch it, because it always came on at 2 or 3 in the morning. So it's like, fuck, you know, on the school night, I was like, how the fuck am I gonna watch it?
Yeah.
But I had to sneak up and watch a couple episodes because I'm like, I want to see what ECW is all about. Especially when that crossover with the WWF, when they appeared in 96 and 97, when Sabu dived off the R on the Raw.
Dive. I mean, that was like, you know, big back then. You know, that like these falls, like, you know, that was of course before like Mick Foley, like in the Hell in a Cell, and also like Blackman versus Shane, and all this stuff. Of course, with the Hardys.
It's before New Jack and Big Grimes.
It's so much. It's so much.
Can you imagine the amount of craziness if Sabu and New Jack had multiple matches?
Oh, I just saw such a like a tribute to Sabu like the past days, and I love when there was like where somebody comment is like, oh, like he's in heaven now and having a great time like with New Jack. It's like, well, if he sees New Jack, he ain't in heaven.
Jack, I can't feel my legs. Don't worry about it. You ain't gonna need them anyway. But I'm so something else, man.
Like I said, that with New Jack, I would never talk shit about him, even now that he's dead, because he would come back. And with the GCW, when they had, of course, the crazy the clusterfuck, like what they always have at the end of Collective, and suddenly you hear New Jack's theme, and the Campy. Of course, it was like a tribute to it, but it's like,
hey.
It's like I would have not be surprised if it comes up like Rotten Flesh and like.
Hey, the moment you hit Natural Born Killers,
yeah,
and Dr. Dre, it's like you start shitting bricks. Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sabu, like the stuff he did with Taz, great stuff. Like I know a lot of people looked at the barely legal match and thought it was disappointing. I enjoyed it, when I first watched it. It wasn't up to what everybody thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a fun match.
Absolutely, and even though there's like, of course, like it was a little, the relationship was a little bit heated with Taz and Sabu.
Speaking of things like Chris Benoit,
yeah,
that situation get dropped on your head. Even though I think Sabu just didn't rotate, he just landed straight head first and just jammed his neck.
Yeah,
and then you gotta love Paul Heyman. I love watching the ECW documentary. And like, oh, you broke Sabu's neck. Let's call you the crippler.
I mean, coming back after 2 weeks with a broken neck, like fuck that. But yeah, and also like, I mean, rest in peace, Sabu. It's still a miracle that he made it to 60.
Yeah, considering what he put his body through.
Yeah, it's still a lot of people that took less bumps, had less injuries, didn't make it that far. Still, very much would love to have him around, but him making it to 60, if 20 years ago, like, if we would have, like, betted on it, like, I probably would say, like, no way.
Yeah, because, and again, he wrestled all over. The Japanese death matches and FMV, and, TNA, he had to feud with Monster Abyss. I enjoyed his TNA stuff.
Abyss is so underrated. I mean, back then he was not underrated, but I think that with his legacy, that people don't talk as much about Abyss as they should, because also back then, that everybody said, wow, Undertaker versus Abyss would be like a true dream match.
So a lot of people thought he was like a mashup of Kane and Mankind. When he's first appeared, it's like, what's this Kane Mankind ripoff? But he could move for a big man.
Yes,
his Black Hole Slam is just top tier. Especially when he he hit it on lighter weight wrestlers.
Yeah.
He does that extra spin rotation, just make it look more devastating.
Back in the day, TNA was so good. I think at least people are appreciating, especially the pre-Bischoff and Hogan TNA era, a little bit more. Because of course, like with AJ Styles, Samoa Joe with Abyss, I think even back then, I think that Frank Kazarian should have been way bigger than he was at that moment. Like in the past, I think he's basically a very late bloomer right now in that regard. But TNA back then, Ken Shamrock versus Ron Killings.
I still want to see that version of Ron.
Oh, what I would personally love, what I thought about, but WWE would never book it like that. That Cena like basically feud him like back into Ron Killings.
I want to see that Ron Killings. That one
versus Cena. That would have, and he should win the title.
I would love to see. It would be a nice cap to his career.
Yeah,
to be finally acknowledged because the man's been around for so long, and I love when Chris Van Vliet actually.
Yeah, I was what. Yeah,
about the whole "What's up, Louis?"
Yay, freaky Louis.
Yeah, great to see you, bro. But I like when he asked him the question, man, how long you been around? Because you got that picture with Tupac and Eazy-E, and people thought it was Photoshop or AI made. Like, no, this man been around since.
It's like he does not look like it, but he's even older than us.
And yet he can still move.
Yes, it's just he's a fucking legend, and sadly for the new WWE audience that they never witnessed like Ron Killings, like NWA champion Ron Killings, and him being on the mic and not being PG, like and funny. He was able to be very menacing.
Oh man. But I want to get it back to Sabu.
Yeah.
This is about him, man.
Yeah.
Said Sabu just wrestled. I even got a couple of independent videos. Like he made appearances in MLW. I think he was part of that the MLW War Games early on with Terry Funk was a part of. And like man, he was all over in all different promotions, independent and stuff. And every time he appeared, it was a mass turnout of people because hey, Sabu's in town. We gotta see it because he's gonna do some over the top crazy shit, and I want to be a part of it. I want to experience it.
It is like that, Also, like when basically Sabu no-showed like his own Hall of Fame introduction to the Indie Hall of Fame, and then later, when Janela did the work shoot on him, and then suddenly Sabu came out and he totally wrecked Janela.
And Sabu's no stranger to no song because he got fired from ECW because of no song.
Yeah, and that was the thing, with this retirement match where really everything can happen from him just not showing up. Like they even had of course a replacement with Janela fighting like Tremont, but it was a crazy night. It was such a crazy match. I was like sending you messages while I was watching it. It's like, the fuck with the bump. I was recording it because I knew like some shit would happen right now. Where this was just it. First of all, I was surprised the moment that Sabu was in the ring, how he could move. Because the way he walked to the ring, and also when you saw him walking, like at conventions, etc., it's like he was not exactly walking like somebody should walk with two healthy legs.
And the fact that they said that, like he said, his feet was bleeding that day. It's like,
yeah,
damn.
he was in no way he was in any shape to get in the ring. However, I would not. I mean, of course, it's if it would be like a very humane organization. Wrestling industry is not humane. Like, and I don't fault GCW and Chanella to go through with it when Sabu himself is saying, let's do this. Of course, would you be like the bigger man, the bigger company that says like, hey, no, you can't perform. But that is not the wrestling industry, sadly.
Just imagine if Vince McMahon put an end to the Hell in a Cell match after the first fall. That first fall from Mick Foley, he's like, "Yo, match is over."
It's very tough calls to make, and especially like indie companies where this is like their big weekend, where they make the money. And GCW already did let's just say like the two Hammerstein Ballroom shows did not go so well with a lot of the audience, because also like sometimes, of course, of the New York Athletic Commission, then also some things that are out of control. For like when Ellie Catch like got insured, and there was like this whole like pause where when Sabu already is there and comes out, I get it why they went through with it. I still think that they should have changed the match a bit, like to not do some spots, and also the barbed wire was way too loose. Like this, I don't know how to do it, but even I could see like in the beginning is like that shit won't hold.
Yeah, it was crazy, with how the barbed wire looked and stuff. And I'll say this: they deliver for what they can do.
Yes,
and the fans got a cheer out of it. Sandman came out. They said Sandman's music is what woke Sabu up, because he was knocked out after he took that bump.
He was like totally out of it, when he was up there,
Yeah,
and he gave like Janela like the hand, and like before he put him into the barbed wire bed, he really didn't seem to be there at that moment. And is they like this one thing, when Janela set up like the barbed wire board to put Sabu through it, and when it just Sabu hit it, and the whole fucking structure of the barbed wire gave up, and Sabu took that fucking bump outside, where his head was like in a pool of blood outside, where at that moment, like I thought he was gone, like at that moment.
He'd be like, man, this is where what's his name comes out from Rocky 4, and he's like, somebody stop, don't tell, man, don't tell. Don't tell.
And like, of course, he used that moment to bring the Sandman out.
To buy time.
To buy time, but it's for let's just say that I think they did the best for the match. They didn't do the best for Sabu.
And
but very rarely Sabu did the best for Sabu.
And that's what I was about to say, is like Sabu's gonna do what Sabu do.
Yeah, it's
and I remember saying before that whole match, I was telling you, I'm like, man, Sabu probably got medical bills that he's still paying on from the 90s.
Yeah,
it's like, and the man put his body through so much. But I felt like it like he felt that he wanted to go out his way.
Yeah.
If he knew that his life was on the near the end, he was gonna go do what Sabu do, and that's have a barbed wire match.
That could very well be, and with him in his with him that in the condition that he was, uh, he very much have like take into account that he might die during the match.
And that's always the.
And personally, if you would ask me, when we did like our last show, and it was basically 4 hours before the event started, I said I have to quickly go to sleep because I have to watch it live, because there is a chance that they might have to cut out that match afterwards on this, like on the rewatch, because I would have given it a 20% chance that Sabu would not make it through the match. And I don't mean this in a way of like I want to see somebody die in the ring, which I very much want. I still very much would love for Sabu to be alive. I would love for Sabu to have retired many years ago with big money on his bank account. But I'm a Sabu fan and I wanted to watch like this match, and I had tears in my eyes watching it. First of all, for hearing his music again, seeing it coming out, but also had tears in my eyes because it did felt wrong.
And isn't it prophetic that he came out dressed in all white?
Yeah, very much. It's like even watching it like live on stream, it felt very uncanny. I was rewatching the match after the passing, and
Damn, I couldn't believe it.
I was like, I had to pause at moments because it I felt very uneasy rewatching it.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I totally believe it. Like it's.
And I remember the story of Masawa passing in the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened with Rey Mysterio when he gave the 619 to a guy, and that was tragic. So anytime a wrestler passes in the ring during a match,
yeah, I would not watch that, but he survived it.
I know, but
it's
looking back at it, it's like, man, I wouldn't want to watch a match that knowing that this person passed away 3 years later.
It like I say,
it's just crazy.
But yeah, it's.
And speaking of Dark Side of the Ring, next week's episode, man, that's gonna be a depressive one because it's Daphne.
Yeah, it's. Are they gonna have Stevie there?
I don't know, but I started watching this video, and I just had to stop watching it because that her passing was even more tragic.
Yeah, it's like especially like as a metalhead, who was always into metal even back then as a teenager. I was so much into Daphne when she was at WCW.
Man, she was like one of the best things in WCW.
At that point,
how her character was.
Yeah, I had totally like a crush on her, and when she passed away, also like there was like something where it's like the same when China passed away.
It's always heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, like it. But it's like what this is also like sadly a part of being like a wrestling fan, or being in the wrestling industry, or being a wrestling fan is. I think like a lot of people, when I talk with people outside, and it's like, first of all, when you talk with them and they're like, oh, you're watching wrestling, and they're making like fun of you, and then you're showing them stuff, and then like it's like, oh, you're watching wrestling, that's disgusting. Because it's very morbid. We're watching a lot of performers that are sacrificing years, decades of their life with certain bumps, etc. And we're still enjoying it. Like, how does Solar Monster, like I like his channel, how does he always say so nicely, the fans are the heels? We totally are.
Hey, especially in this social media climate, the fans are definitely heels.
And and wrestling is it's basically the closest to gladiator games like in the Roman Empire. It's because a lot of people always say like mixed martial arts is actually a very safe sport compared to wrestling. We also had like this discussion like a while ago where it says like wrestling and bodybuilding actually like the two most dangerous sports out there. With a lot of with people that are like kickboxing, that are like in mixed martial arts, that are boxing. They actually have very few matches a year for which they prepare. While, of course, with wrestling, having like 360 matches a year is possible, some even 400 when they travel, with the.
Damn, Hulk Hogan. 400.
I absolutely laughed. I have to laugh Shelton Benjamin's.
Benjamin Shelton.
It's like I want to stop saying Benjamin Shelton because otherwise it starts with Shelton Benjamin.
Hey, it's like people gotta stop saying Perk Angle. It's Prime Angle now.
Exactly. Yeah, peak angle. It's like it's yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wrestle a lot in the year, whereas MMA fighters they only have fights 2, at most 3. If anybody have more than 4 fights, then yeah, you just a workaholic. That you just
when I played football and just like hobby wise European like real football, it's like I played 2 times a week and I always had like some
ice
sort. Always ice pack. There was always something hurt. So just imagine like to take all these bumps and then to be like travel and take the same bumps on the other end like of the US or like another part of the world. It's just they don't have like they don't regenerate. This is like where they get hooked on painkillers.
And another thing is a lot of these modern wrestlers they go for the thrill. They go for what gonna get them clicks on social media, the dives, all these ridiculous stuff that they need to do. I saw a video of a dude in Mexico wrestling diving off the fucking ceiling.
It's crazy.
Of the building, like what the fuck? But it gets views. And like it gets talked about.
We are the heels. The fans are the heels. Like literally, is I watch GCW like every event like on streaming, and this is like where I'm also like especially with independent workers, they can not afford being injured most of the time. Like they have to work through injuries, and what is it like in 1 month, like in 3 weeks is the tournament of survival, it's a deathmatch tournament, and like if there's like this.
I'll say this: look how many promotions popped up after ECW folded. XPW, CZW.
Yeah.
You had all these hardcore promoters trying to emulate what ECW started. And ECW basically was American version of FMW and all that stuff, the Japanese hardcore death matches. So they took elements of those and made it their own, and then you had a whole bunch of promotions come up trying to be what ECW was.
Yeah. And then the crazy thing about it is also that not only some fans are calling them a sellout, it's also very often other wrestlers that lose the respect for those people because they betray wrestling, where it's almost like when it's like this toxic thing when somebody makes it out of a very toxic like environment in loop, and suddenly people are angry because they made it while the others are still stuck. And the wrestling industry is very, very toxic. It's
toxic. It's toxic all over.
It is, and it's
You got the IWC, you got the video game community, you got comic book drama community.
yeah.
You know, it's like toxic is everywhere. It don't matter what community you're a part of. There's always going to be a lot of toxic
It is,
people.
yeah.
And wrestling is notorious for it.
It is it's like because it's also the nature of the game, because it is a very it is not an industry where the industry itself cares about the well-being of its participants. You know, how many promotions just really squeezed out the life of a wrestler until like the wrestler broke and then just threw him away.
Well, shit, it makes me think of, you know, how much Vince McMahon got out of Andre the Giant when he clearly could not move no more. And by the time Andre finally stepped away, he only lived like what, 3 more years?
Yes, and the thing is also that this is then presented as something like heroic, or you know, like it's like, oh, like he gave his last drop of blood, his last like man of like for the business. And so like then like now I'm absolutely with you. It's every wrestler that can make it somewhere else. I mean, Hollywood is also not the best industry. It also is like a very toxic, but at least everything is healthier than wrestling. And I still think that Hollywood should have taken Cena very early. Like Cena is a way better actor than he's a wrestler. And he's not a good actor.
Jesus Christ, man. You say he's a better actor than he's not a great actor.
Well, he's shit wrestler. He's like maybe he's not the worst wrestler ever, but he's the worst wrestler who has ever been in a main event.
Most of them.
Yeah,
I agree. But I will say that, you know, it's one of the reasons why The Rock jumped out of wrestling early, because he saw Hollywood was calling for him, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this Hollywood man. You know?
I mean, The Rock witnessed it the best. That, you know, his father is Soulman, like Rocky Johnson, like he was like, he saw what this business like does to somebody.
Yeah, it'll weigh you out, and then it's gonna cast you to the side when you're done.
Yeah.
You know, so you know that we went off there, but you know, that was our little thing, our tribute to Sabu. Again, Sabu, we all watched his matches and through all promotions, and again, his death was hard because, again, he's another wrestler that we all grew up watching. And regardless of what people feel about hardcore wrestling, there's a lot of people that dislike the hell out of it. It wouldn't be what it is without guys like Sabu, without ECW. And I would even go as far as to say without the Sheik and Abdullah the Butcher. Those are like the original guys that just pioneered hardcore in the 70s. So, rest in peace, Sabu. You will always be remembered. I'm going to pop in some DVDs and watch this stuff. First, I'm going to watch the Cornette video, and then I'm going to watch some
Sabu. I'm going to watch like the Stevie Richards video, like the 2-hour, 20 minutes tribute now, before I go to bed at 3 in the morning then.
Yeah. We'll take next week off, and then we'll come back the following week. And I'll probably discuss with you on that, on how we're gonna go forward. Because I'm thinking do 3 weeks a month.
We could do the Dark Angel, because I saw that one is on DVD available.
Okay.
Yeah, with Landgren and of course Hühn.
All right, so we'll do that when we come back.
Yes.
Cool. But other than that, I hope y'all have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And until then, peace out, y'all.